And now,
So, greetings, ChampCar world. Welcome to the first of what I'm going to call my Bravo flag videos. There's a little joke there for those of you that share my background in the maritime boating world. Little continuity there. If you look up what a Bravo flag is, trying to maintain a little continuity to what Mike used to call his red flag videos. I'm guessing that most of you probably know who I am by now, but if not, I'll take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Dana Morrison, and I was recently given the opportunity to be the new president and CEO of ChampCar. It's been an amazing journey. I'll talk in a few minutes about kind of my background and how I got here, but it's an opportunity I'm very thankful for, and I'm happy to be able to help you guys with this club. Some people have asked me what I was going to focus on in the first video, and I actually think the very first thing that I should talk about, and it would probably be wrong not to, is to take a moment and discuss the mics. And I did pluralize that word because there are two. I'm sure by now all of you have heard that our past president and CEO, Mike Chiswick, has decided to move on to some other things. He's still on the board of directors. He's still going to be involved with the club, but he has stepped aside from the president and CEO role. But you may not know that another ChampCar employee, Mike Morrison, has also decided to move on a little bit. Both of these two people have been intrinsic to the ChampCar history. I first raced against Mike Chiswick in 2010. So yes, that's how far back my involvement with the club goes. And I actually met Mike Morrison in 2011 when I volunteered to work my first race for the predecessor organization at the New Orleans event. So to give you a little window into my background, I've been involved with ChampCar both as a competitor and as a volunteer worker going back to the very start in 2010. Mike Morrison has run the central part of the country for us for a lot of years. He's run a lot of races, and he really helped establish what ChampCar is as a club at the track, the kind of experience you get coming to the event. And sure, all of you know the history with Mike Chiswick. Suffice to say that Mike has led this club sometimes through nothing more than the sheer force of his own will, through some challenging times and some really good times. And I think it would be wrong not to take a minute and thank them both for what they've done to bring ChampCar to where they are now. And I think one of the best things you can say about someone who helps build an organization up and then steps aside is that the organization transcends them. It continues to function. It continues to work. It continues to live. And I think our situation now is a perfect example of that for the both of them. So to Mike Chiswick and to Mike Morrison, thank you for everything you've done for ChampCar. You guys are going to be missed, but more importantly, you guys are going to be remembered. So thank you. So with that said, a couple people have asked kind of what my vision is, where I want to kind of take ChampCar. And I don't want to get into a long 20, 30-minute dissertation here and put everybody to sleep, but let me start by saying this. Several people at some of the races back as far as Virginia and Barber had mentioned to some people on the staff that they didn't know in the immediate time that Mike was no longer the president and I had taken over. They were like, wow, we didn't even realize that. Everything seems to be, it was just the same on the ground. And ultimately, that's one of my very first goals. Your experience at the track when you come to a ChampCar event should be exactly the same experience that you've always had the last couple of years coming to a ChampCar event. In the immediacy, nothing should change. We want to put on the same events that you guys have always come to. We will strive to maybe improve. We can always improve the organization. But I thought it was actually a good thing that in the short term, people didn't even know there'd been a change made. So let me go down this historical path for just a second. People have asked kind of what my thoughts are. Back in 2010, or a little before that, probably like a lot of you, I was involved in cars. I had built a Factory 5. I was fooling around with various events with some friends. I'd done some solo stuff, some time trials, other things like that. But I never quite had the resources to go wheel-to-wheel racing. I had a relatively normal job, like a lot of you. In fact, at one point, my wife and I were making 4 jobs work to try and make ends meet and support ourselves. So we didn't have the money to go traditional wheel-to-wheel racing. It was just out of my reach. And then along came this organization, what became ChampCar. And all of a sudden I was like, hey, I can do this. And the team I got involved with initially was filled with a bunch of my friends who said the same thing. You know, they had all played around with various sport car type things, but never quite had the means to go wheel to wheel racing. And all of a sudden it became available for people like me. And I don't want this club to ever grow to a point where I could not afford to participate in my own club. So when it comes to my opinion on things that make racing more expensive, or even the perception that you must spend a ton of money to go racing, I want to kind of wheel us back from that a little bit. It's not my intention to put anybody out. If you're running a ChampCar now, none of that is going to change. But I am highly aware of the perception of cost creep. And I want to make sure that, using myself as a barometer, I never want this club to get to a place where I couldn't race in my own organization. In the short term, we're going to continue to enforce the rule book. You talk to people who've been to the last couple of races, we've had a few things come up, and the way I enforce things is to look at the rule book, read the rule exactly as it's written, and enforce it exactly as it's written. No second rule books, no internet things. Nobody shows up with a random email from somebody that says it's okay. If it's not in print in the rule book, then that's not how we're going to do it. If it is in print in the rule book, then that's how we're going to follow it. That way everybody knows up front what's going on. I could go on a lot longer about these kind of things. Before I really get entrenched in opinions, I really do want to hear from you guys. I plan to be working something like 14 races next year and go to several more, including several of Chelsea's races. So come find me, wave me down on pit lane, find me in the paddock, tell me what you think. I love to hear when people come up and tell me at an event that they had a great time and things went well. I ask everyone in that situation to please tell me when something didn't go well and they have a problem with something. Let me know early so I can get ahead of it and fix it before it goes completely off track. I love to hear we're doing well. I love to hear when my staff is doing well. So if you have compliments, tell them to any of the staff. If you have complaints, please bring them straight to me. So with that, I'm creeping up on 7 minutes. I told Polly I'd try to keep this thing between about 5 and 10. So again, thank you guys very much for your confidence in me. I look forward to working for you guys. And I remember, and I will continue to say this is your club. It's our club. It's my club. We all belong to this organization. We all have a voice in it. So vote, send your stuff in to info@champcar.org. If you have a really, really long-winded thing and you want to bend somebody's ear, feel free to call Bill Strong. Otherwise, get a hold of me. And with that, thank you guys very much. Oh, I have one more note here. COVID. Still hanging on to COVID. It's going to be a thing. Look forward for more information coming out about waivers and event rules and that kind of stuff. But we can run safely under the COVID regulations. We can carry on events. So let's do it. Let's be happy that we can go racing, and let's take that opportunity where we can. Thank you guys very much. I look forward to working for you guys. Thank you for your time. Bye.